starting with 1 million luck points. Chapter 351, Working Together. The 7 elite teams charged in directly, and roars immediately filled the sky. A master-level beast was very powerful. Ordinary masters could not compare to it, let alone their 6-man team. Zhou Hao understood this, so he naturally had to work with everyone. Only in this way could there be a glimmer of hope. As soon as they entered the battlefield, they arrived at their corresponding positions. Zhou Hao and Su Ling rushed out directly. Zhang Yi followed closely behind, forming a triangle. Yuan Cheng looked at everyone and hurriedly interfered if he discovered anyone was in danger. Yun Yan led the entire situation and watched all the mutated beasts and their movements. As for Fang Yu, she held a lethal weapon in her hand and also found the right opportunity to heavily injure the mutated beast. They did not have much mist, so they had to use it wisely. Su Ling's body was very powerful. She circulated her cultivation technique and emitted a threatening cold aura. With a wave of her hand, she directly sprinkled dense white mist to interfere with the vision of these mutated beasts. Although mutated beasts were powerful, they were still mutated beasts and did not have much intelligence. They also did not know how to fight and only knew how to use brute force. Su Ling's ice muscle body happened to interfere with their vision. The white fog she created was also very beneficial for Zhou Hao and the others. They could directly capture the movements of these mutated beasts according to their auras. At the master level, it was already very easy for them to capture the enemy's aura. Moreover, these mutated beasts did not know how to hide their killing intent at all. Even if they closed their eyes, they could still find it. Su Ling took the lead and directly unleashed her powerful cultivation. Although she had become a master, her lethality was still not enough for her to instantly kill these master-level beasts. Therefore, at this moment, Zhou Hao and Zhang Yi attacked. Zhou Hao directly took out his long saber and used the Shadow 7 sabers. Of course, it was impossible for him to use his quasi-heaven realm cultivation. Instead, he deliberately suppressed his cultivation at the master level. However, even so, the Shadow 7 sabers was still very powerful. His compatibility with this cultivation technique was 100%, and his combat strength was outstanding when he used it. Zhang Yi had already entered the master level during this period of time and his blood essence was also extremely powerful. Although Zhou Hao did not know what cultivation technique Zhang Yi cultivated, he was still extremely shocked to see him being incomparably valiant. He thought to himself that Zhang Yi had indeed not wasted his time. Among these people, other than him, Zhang Yi had improved the most. Under Su Ling's attack, Zhou Hao and Zhang Yi hurriedly followed. Zhou Hao was very agile. With his quasi-heaven realm cultivation, these masters were just like ants. Not to mention scheming against them, even if Zhou Han stood here and let them fight for a few hours, they still wouldn't be able to break through Zhou Hao's defense. Zhou Hao's Shadow 7 sabers drew a cold sharp beam in the air. As soon as it landed, several mutated beasts were immediately killed. Zhang Yi also shattered 2 mutated beasts. As for Su Ling, under Zhou Hao and Zhang Yi's feints, the lethality she unleashed was even greater. It enveloped more than 10 mutated beasts, and the 3 of them directly exploded with their full combat strength. These dozen or so mutated beasts were directly beheaded and could not be any more dead. Seeing this, Su Ling and the others had happy expressions, thinking that Zhou Hao's arrangement was indeed effective. Bai Linglong also saw this and could not help but nod. The 6 of them were not the most powerful people in the elite team, but the combat strength they erupted with could not be underestimated. It was even to the extent that her absolutely most powerful team had only killed 5 mutated beasts at this moment, and they had already jointly killed more than 10. These little guys are quite interesting, especially Zhou Hao. I heard that he's the disciple of that detestable President Zhou. He sure lives up to President Zhou's reputation. When Bai Linglong mentioned President Zhou, she also gritted her teeth. Fortunately, her relationship with President Zhou was not exposed, and only the 2 of them knew about what happened. However, at the thought of the two of them being exposed in front of him that day in the abyss of sin, she felt extremely embarrassed. That detestable guy even cultivated a dual cultivation technique with me. He's really stupid. In particular, when she thought of the dual cultivation technique the two of them cultivated in the end, Bai Linglong was even more furious. Although nothing happened to her physical body, what happened to her mentally was simply indescribable. Every time she thought of this, her heart would beat faster and her face would turn red. I wonder if Zhou Hao can locate his master, President Zhou. Humph, ever since last time, this guy seems to have become a coward. He doesn't even dare to appear in the 13th spatial rift. Bai Linglong was also confused by her own feelings and was very conflicted. Although she said that Zhou Hao was an idiot, for some reason, she still wanted to see him. Perhaps this was what women were like. On the battlefield, Zhou Hao and the others were like a hot knife through butter. Although they were somewhat tired, it was a good thing that the few of them were supporting each other. When Su Ling's physical strength was lacking, Zhou Hao would help out. When Zhou Hao could not, Zhang Yi intervened. If they still could not handle it, then Fang Yu's large-scale killing weapon would be unleashed. Moreover, Yun Yan was also there to help everyone pay attention to the danger. As for Yuan Cheng, this kid was especially cunning. He had school bags hanging all over his body that contained thrusters. Inside his bags also contained all the other small equipment he had recently bought. If he pressed it on his body, he could fly for a short period of time. As long as they couldn't hold on, Yuan Cheng's thrusters would immediately appear in their hands. After Zhou Hao waved his saber and killed two more mutated beasts, he pretended to be panting as he looked at Su Ling and the others. Zhou Hao realized that they were all extremely tired. After all, there were 100 mutated beasts here, and they were all from the Master Realm. It was not easy to deal with them. Therefore, Zhou Hao swept his gaze over this huge territory and found a place to rest. Fang Yun, let the smoke out. Let's head over there to replenish our supplies. Zhou Hao said directly. Then, the Shadow Seven Sabers rained down. After Fang Yu threw out the smoke bomb, the few of them held their breaths and hid behind a huge rock more than 10 kilometers away. They all sat down. Zhou Hao stared fixedly at these mutated beasts and was relieved to discover that they did not notice them. Everyone, resupply. This is an energy bar. Just absorb it directly. At this moment, don't worry. Zhou Hao handed them each a rare level energy bar. To them, one was enough. They did not refuse and began to absorb it. Zhou Hao was still carefully observing these mutated beasts at this moment, worried that they would discover this place. After this battle, the few of them were exhausted. Even if they were not physically tired, they were mentally exhausted. Therefore, they prepared to rest for a few hours. In any case, it would not take long for them to kill all the beasts. However, Bai Linglong saw this scene and smiled. You want to rest? I want to see how much surprise you guys can give me. As soon as she finished speaking, Bai Linglong waved and made a commotion at a place not far from where Zhou Hao and the others were resting. When the mutated beasts heard this commotion, they were directly attracted over. This scene caused Zhou Hao to vomit blood. Chapter 352, Perfect Cooperation. Zhou Hao had never expected Bai Linglong to be so vicious at this moment. She actually drove the enemy here and let these beasts attack them without giving them a chance to rest. What's going on? Zhang Yi was absorbing the energy bar when he heard a bang. Then, he shouted angrily and was shocked. It's nothing. Those beasts have discovered us. Zhou Hao was very angry. They did not sense Bai Linglong's methods, but how could he not have noticed it? However, he couldn't say anything. He could only sigh and continue to fight these mutated beasts. We don't have any supplies. If we continue to fight head-on, we'll easily get injured. How about this Su Ling, Zhang Yi, and Yuan Cheng will cover for us. Fang Yu, Yun Yan, you two will set up traps behind us. The more the better. We'll stall for your time. Tell us when you're done. We'll try our best to kill a large number of them even if we can't kill all of them. After Zhou Hao finished speaking, their eyes lit up. The biggest difference between them and the mutated beasts was not that they would fight to the death, but that they had agile heads and could set up traps and use different methods to kill them. On the other hand, those mutated beasts only had brute strength. Hearing this, Yun Yan and Fang Yu knew that the matter was urgent. They did not say anything and immediately went to make the arrangements. What the four of us need to do is not to kill them but to stall for time. Su Ling and I are very fast, so it's not a problem. However, the two of you Yuan Cheng is good at escaping. Stay with Zhang Yi and run around with him everywhere. Zhang Yi is powerful and can protect you. The two of you will be fine. Zhou Hao could only think of this in a short period of time. All right, Zhang Yi, let's go. Hearing this, Yuan Cheng did not say anything and left with Zhang Yi. Before he left, he handed the thrusters to Zhou Hao and Su Ling and Zhang Yi to help them increase their speed and avoid the mutated beasts. Seeing them leave, Zhou Hao stretched out his hand and smiled. Miss Su, with the enemy in front of us, I wonder if you can fight the enemy with me. Zhou Hao smiled mischievously, making Su Ling burst into laughter. Why are you still joking at a time like this? Also, aren't you worried that they'll be injured? Also, Yun Yan and Fang Yu, is it good for you to let them go to the back to set up traps? Su Ling asked as she and Zhou Hao rushed out and lured the mutated beasts. We're currently working as a team. Facing a powerful enemy, we can only cooperate. Otherwise, only death awaits us. Yuan Cheng's escaping ability is top-notch. Moreover, that guy is like a thief. As for Zhang Yi, he's very fierce and violent. Sometimes, his eyes might turn red from killing. I'm not worried at all when the two of them are together. As for Yun Yan and Fang Yu, they might be from the Yanjing training camp, but girls have always been weak. Moreover, the two of them aren't that powerful and are very useless against these beasts. It's better for them to set up traps. Zhou Hao's body was like a monkey as he hid in the mountains around the mutated beasts. At the same time, he used the Shadow 7 sabers to harvest the mutated beasts from time to time. When Su Ling heard this, she nodded. She felt that what Zhou Hao said made sense, but she could not help but roll her eyes at him. You said that Yun Yan and Fang Yu are girls. Am I not a girl? How could you let me stay here with you? Su Ling pretended to be angry, but Zhou Hao smiled. Hehe, my woman is naturally not an ordinary woman. She's not inferior to men. Moreover, you're determined to eliminate the mutated beasts. If you don't charge forward, you'll probably be furious. You're the strongest among us now. If you don't accompany me, aren't you afraid that I'll be swallowed by these mutated beasts? Zhou Hao knew Su Ling. She was a proud woman and was naturally not comparable to other women. She was very strong and also hoped to become stronger. Moreover, with him around, she was actually much safer. However, when Su Ling heard this, her face immediately turned red and she spat. You're too shameless. Who's your woman? Humph. Su Ling snorted and glared at Zhou Hao. Instead of glaring at him, it was more like she was trying to seduce him. Zhou Hao almost couldn't take it. Also, I've never understood why Instructor Bai made us take on such a difficult mission. In fact, it's basically an impossible mission. At this moment, Su Ling could not help but ask. Only by experiencing life and death can we grow. Her method is not wrong. Moreover, Instructor Bai is a quasi-heaven realm expert. If she wants to save us, she can do it easily. I'm sure she won't let our lives be threatened. After Zhou Hao finished speaking, Su Ling understood. At this moment, Fang Yu and Yun Yan also sent a message. Their traps had already been prepared. When Zhou Hao and the others heard this, they immediately attracted these mutated beasts to the trap. Seeing Yun Yan and Fang Yu, they smiled. Yun Yan had always been incomparably hot and sexy. Fang Yu was also an ice beauty. However, at this moment, the two of them looked like coal miners, covered in dust and in a sorry state. It made Zhou Hao and the others unable to help but smile the moment they saw each other. Humph, the two of us spent a lot of effort. I don't even care about my image. If we can't resolve them, Zhou Hao, Fang Yu, and I won't let you off. Yun Yan and Fang Yu were both furious. Zhou Hao smiled and watched as the mutated beasts chased over. All right, you can start now. When they enter the trap, we'll find an opportunity to kill them. With that said, Fang Yu took out the remote control. Seeing that the mutated beasts had arrived at the trap, she immediately switched it on. In an instant, the traps were activated. Countless bombs exploded. Even the paralysis gun and various heat weapons were being used. Many huge pits even appeared on the ground. They were all dug by Yun Yan and Fang Yu. Other than bombs, there were also a lot of other traps set up. It could be said that right after entering this trap, all the mutated beasts were instantly severely injured. Some of the mutated beasts that had faced the attack traps were instantly killed. Those who were lucky enough to escape were also killed by Zhou Hao and the others in panic. Bai Linglong saw this and nodded. Although these guys were not very powerful, it had to be said that their teamwork was the most cohesive and the effect was the best. On the other hand, although the other teams were also fighting bravely, they were far inferior to Zhou Hao's team. At the same time, outside the 13th Spatial Rift training base, the big screen flashed, and everyone's names fluctuated. This time, points appeared behind everyone, and even rankings appeared. There were 6 people in first place. Zhou Hao, Su Ling, Yuan Cheng, Zhang Yi, Yun Yan, and Fang Yu. The 6 of them were ranked first together and had 100 points each. Chapter 353, Teaching. As soon as the rankings on the screen appeared, everyone was stunned. However, only the people from the 7th training camp instantly cheered. As everyone was feeling greatly surprised, they also did not dare to believe that the other 6 teams could not compete against the 7th elite team. Why were the 6 of them able to tie for first place and get 100 points each? On the other hand, the other teams only had 100 points in total. What was going on? Yang Hui smiled with praise in his eyes. It's the power of teamwork. These kids are united. It's precisely because Instructor Bai's first lesson was designed to teach them teamwork. That's right. If humans aren't united, how can we fight the foreign races? If humans aren't united, how can they resist the million foreign races? If humans are not united, how can we enjoy peace and resolve the crisis? It's said that even 10,000 people can't beat a single expert. But now, it's not just about individualism, but teamwork. Yang Hui muttered to himself and did not say anything else. He knew that the 6 of them had figured it out. After killing all the 100 beasts, Zhou Hao and the others returned to Bai Linglong and waited silently. At the same time, they were shocked as they watched the other teams kill the beasts. Look, that's Liu Zimo from the first team. He's really too ferocious. His cultivation has already entered the Grandmaster level, right? It's as if he's killing dogs. Most of the mutated beasts in their team were killed by him. There's also Cao Gongren from the second team. He's from a family with a domineering cultivation technique. He's a Heaven Realm expert from the Cao family and a quasi-Heaven Realm expert. He's indeed very powerful. The people from the 3rd and 4th teams are also very powerful. Compared to them, we're indeed far inferior. Su Ling and the others were shocked when they saw the other teams fighting. To be honest, they were still a little hurt. However, Bai Linglong did not say anything. Soon, the other teams also finished dealing with the mutated beasts. Although they were in a somewhat sorry state, they still completed the mission. The special exception was Liu Zimo from the first team. He had killed 60 mutated beasts alone and was powerful and invincible. However, when they saw that Zhou Hao's team was already standing there, they were all surprised, thinking that they had not completed the mission. Very good. All of you have completed the mission. Report the number of beasts you killed so that I can record your points. Bai Linglong spoke indifferently. Starting from the first team, they reported one by one. The strongest was naturally Liu Zimo, and the second was Cao Gongren. The two of them had killed 60 and 50 each. They were very powerful. The other teams were not bad either. In a while, when it's our turn, we'll just say that we're sharing the points. We'll tell her that we want to split the points evenly. Zhou Hao whispered. Su Ling and the others also had no objections. When it was Zhou Hao and the others' turn to report, the others sneered. If they worked as a team, it meant that they had either killed 16 or 17 each. With such points, none of them would be able to enter the top 10. It was really laughable. Bai Linglong nodded after hearing their report. All right, the points are out and will be distributed. You can check it. After Bai Linglong finished speaking, they could not wait to see their ranking. However, when they saw that there were 6 people in the first place, and they were all members of Team 7, they were dumbfounded. Liu Zimo was the first to be displeased. He had killed 60 beasts alone and had scored 60 points. On the other hand, everyone in Team 7 should have scored 16 points or 17 points. How could they have scored 100 points each? Moreover, how could their team get 1000 points in total when there were only 100 mutated beasts? Wasn't that ridiculous? Instructor Bai, did you get the points wrong? Liu Zimo hurriedly said. They all thought that Instructor Bai had made a mistake, but Bai Linglong shook her head. There's no mistake. Everyone in Team 7 gets 100 points. What? Why? Instructor Bai, there were only 100 mutated beasts in total. Did they kill 100 each? Cao Gongren said. No, every team has 100. They also killed 100 in total, Bai Linglong replied. Ah? Then isn't there a problem with this score? Instructor Bai, we don't understand. Liu Zimo was very indignant and immediately said. Do you think this score is wrong? Alright, I'll tell you why you didn't get 100 points. Bai Linglong immediately spoke at this moment. Then, she projected the video recording of Team 7's battle. The screen showed the scene of Zhou Hao and the others fighting the mutated beasts. The 6 of them had a clear division of labor and fought together with extremely high efficiency. Even Liu Zimo and the others were shocked when they saw this. It had to be known that among the few of them, they were all masters. There was not even a grandmaster, yet they were still able to deal with these mutated beasts. However, although they were shocked, they still did not understand what was going on. The mission I assigned you is to eliminate the mutated beasts. You've all done it. However, other than Team 7, I'm not satisfied with your results. It's not because you're not strong. On the contrary, Team 7's overall strength is very weak. But why were they the first to complete the mission? You should have seen it too. The 6 of them worked together and killed these 100 mutated beasts together. Each of them contributed greatly and played an extremely important role. After Bai Linglong finished speaking, she looked at the other teams and said indifferently. What I want to tell you is that our opponents are not just 100 mutated beasts, but 1,000,000 mutated beasts. We humans have always been at a disadvantage. If we don't work together, we won't be able to resist the mutated beasts eyeing us covetously from the spatial rift. As for you guys, your individuality is too intense and you all want to be in the limelight. Although you are powerful, haven't you thought about why you didn't work together to kill these beasts? In particular, the more mutated beasts you kill, the more furious I get. The battlefield is not a place where a single person can turn the situation around. You need to rely on everyone. On the other hand, you guys work alone and fight alone. How stupid! Do you think that just because you have some strength, you can be arrogant and unleash your heroism? You're wrong. You're all wrong. A team will win and lose together. Since you've established a 6-person team, you should know that you're all teammates and should support each other to the end. As teammates, you guys should be like companions who can entrust your lives to each other. Bai Linglong snorted, her voice surging like thunder, as if it had struck the hearts of everyone in the other teams. The mission I gave you guys this time is to work together sincerely. If you want to fight a solo battle, I might as well let you guys enter the training ground alone to kill to your heart's content. Therefore, Team 7 has met my requirements. They killed 100 of the mutated beasts together. Every death was obtained by the effort of teamwork. Therefore, each of them gets 100 points. Do you have any objections? Bai Linglong questioned. Chapter 354, Cannot Know. As soon as Bai Linglong finished speaking, everyone was stunned for a moment, and their expressions changed slightly. Only then did they understand what Bai Linglong meant. The humans and foreign races had always been at war and were unable to get along. In fact, the recent war situation at the front line had even made everyone feel a deep sense of danger. They were all elites nurtured by the human race and they knew a lot of things. Therefore, when they heard Bai Linglong's words, they did not have any objections. All of you, remember this. The reason why we humans can fight the foreign races is not because we human martial artists are powerful, but because we humans are united. There are tens of thousands of foreign races. Every race has its own characteristics. They have infinite strength and are agile. All of them have innate advantages. As for us humans, we have always been weak. If we don't work together, how can we resist them? Bai Linglong snorted. There was nothing wrong with her words. Even Zhou Hao nodded when he heard her. This woman was indeed not inferior to men. With such an expert holding down the fort, even if the humans could not eliminate the mutated beasts, they could still live in peace. After Bai Linglong finished speaking, she looked at Zhou Hao and the others. Although you guys have cooperated perfectly and are very united, you guys are still lacking. Although teamwork is important, wouldn't it have been easier for you to kill these 100 mutated beasts if you guys had all been grandmasters? Therefore, don't start feeling arrogant just because you obtained 100 points. To tell you the truth, I had only given you guys the 100 points to educate the other 6 teams. Among the 7 teams, your team is the weakest. I don't care what methods you use, I want all of you to get your strength up. Otherwise, your team will be relying on the entire elite team. Bai Linglong was indeed perfect. After teaching the other 6 teams a lesson, she was still able to lecture Team 7. Zhou Hao could not help but admire her. No wonder Zhu Zhao sent her to be the instructor of the elite team. Bai Linglong really had some methods to teach martial artists. Alright, return to the team camp. We'll continue our special training tomorrow. With that said, Bai Linglong left, and the other teams also returned to their teams. Zhou Hao and the others also rushed back. To be honest, although they were very happy to have obtained 100 points today, the pressure in their hearts also increased. After all, compared to the other 6 teams, their strength was truly inferior. At night, Zhou Hao lay in bed and opened the Heaven Dao software. Last time, he was a little disappointed that he did not obtain the God-destroying art. However, Zhou Hao also understood that this cultivation technique must be very special. Otherwise, why would it be so difficult to obtain? Suddenly, he thought of Fairy Yu Ling. After asking if she wanted the God-destroying art, she went offline. This time, Zhou Hao had to ask her properly. Opening the live stream and discovering that she was indeed online, Zhou Hao did not waste any time and directly entered the live stream. In an instant, the netizens in the live stream exploded. Damn, the big shot is old. Welcome at I'm just an ordinary person. At I'm just an ordinary big shot. Are you going to dominate the live stream today? Big shot, without you online these past few days, no one has been dominating the chat. We really miss you a little. I'm just an ordinary person. Zhou Hao saw the comments of the netizens in the live stream and ignored them. Instead, he clicked on his private message and sent a message to Fairy Yuling. Fairy, you didn't answer me last time. Fairy Yuling naturally saw Zhou Hao enter the live stream immediately. A trace of panic flashed across her face, but she still recovered. At this moment, she saw Zhou Hao send a private message and took a deep breath before replying. Big shot, I think it's best if you don't know about the god-destroying art. Also, since you know the god-destroying art, you must also know the god-slaying art. I advise you not to cultivate it. Zhou Hao was confused on the spot when he heard Fairy Yuling's words. Fairy Yuling, I don't quite understand. Can you guys explain it more clearly? Why can't I cultivate this cultivation technique? This cultivation technique was really powerful. Zhou Hao felt that the many cultivation techniques he had on him, including the wood spirit art, the shadow seven sabers, and the golden crow escape technique, were all inferior to this heaven realm cultivation technique. There are many things I can't tell you. However, big shot, you have to believe that Yuling won't lie to you. Fairy Yuling did not want to tell him the secret. Zhou Hao also knew that this had to be a big secret. However, this cultivation technique was really too precious, so Zhou Hao still felt a little reluctant. Seeing that Fairy Yuling did not want to tell him, Zhou Hao shook his head. After buying some gifts in the live stream and obtaining some rare level energy bars, he left the live stream under everyone's cheers. Counting the time, more than half a month had passed. He should be able to get some of that essence energy ancestral stone. As Zhou Hao thought this, he directly changed into his armor. His body moved, and he appeared in the 12th spatial rift and arrived at the guarding area of the Iron Bone Bear King. Brother Bear, I'm here to do business with you again. Zhou Hao arrived and shouted. As soon as he finished speaking, a white light flashed. Zhou Hao focused and his expression changed slightly. At some point, the Iron Bone Bear King's mane had begun to show signs of turning white. Zhou Hao knew that it meant that it was turning into a Silver Bone Bear King. In other words, this Iron Bone Bear King was probably about to break through the bloodline shackles and even break through to the heaven realm. Zhou Hao took a deep breath and was a little nervous. He was really worried that he was helping the foreign races obtain another heaven realm expert by trading with the bear. Little human brother, you're finally here. I've been looking forward to this day and night. Come, let's cut the crap and go get the ancestral stones. The Iron Bone Bear King was extremely excited when it saw Zhou Hao. During this period of time, he had really made a breakthrough after absorbing all the energy bars. He believed that he would definitely be able to break through after another 10 or 8 times. Not only could he enter the heaven realm, but he could also transform into the Silver Bone Bear King. Once he became a heaven realm expert and his bloodline broke through, the 100 Insect King would be no match for him at all. He could directly crush that big insect. Brother Xiang, wait a moment. Let's talk first. Zhou Hao stopped it. Oh? Little human brother, what do you want to talk about? The Iron Bone Bear King was stunned for a moment and could not help but ask. It's very simple. I want to discuss with the Bear King how we should deal with each other if we meet on the battlefield in the future. As soon as Zhou Hao said this, the Iron Bone Bear King also became confused. When we meet on the battlefield, of course we'll stick to our sides. Why, human brother, could it be that you've developed feelings for me after all this time? You can't bear to be my enemy. Or are you worried because you're afraid that I'll break through and you won't be able to defeat me? The Iron Bone Bear King was not stupid at all and immediately said. Chapter 355, Super Molecular Virus. When Zhou Hao heard the Iron Bone Bear King, he thought to himself that this guy was really impressive. He immediately thought of something. Originally, Zhou Hao thought that it was very stupid, but from the 2 exchanges, he could tell that this bear was really smart. Since Brother Xiang is so direct, I won't waste my breath. You're right. I am concerned. The foreign races in the 13th spatial rift have already given up. I believe the other spatial rifts will definitely be fighting. If you enter the heaven realm now, I'll still be worried. Zhou Hao did not beat around the bush. After the Iron Bone Bear King heard this, it smiled. Little human, you're thinking too far ahead. Do you think our foreign races are like you humans? If I were to become a heaven realm expert, I would first deal with other foreign races instead of you humans. Alright, I'm not going to get into it. This is all a secret of the foreign races. Tell me, are you still willing to trade? The Iron Bone Bear King waved his hand and did not care at all. Sure, but I want to make an agreement with Brother Xiang. After thinking about it, Zhou Hao still felt that they should have an agreement. In this way, he could also be at ease. An agreement? What do you mean? The Iron Bone Bear King said directly. It's very simple. Our transaction can continue, but the condition is that after you break through to the heaven realm, you can't become enemies with our human race for the next 3 years. Otherwise, even if it means losing the essence energy ancestral stone, I still won't trade with you. Zhou Hao's thoughts were very simple. The battle at the front line was already very tense. If a heaven realm expert suddenly appeared, it would definitely be very dangerous for the front line. In this way, wouldn't he be putting pressure on the front line for no reason? The Iron Bone Bear King laughed when it heard this. Do you think I want to go to the front line? To tell you the truth, little human, even if the gate to our foreign races opens, it will still be difficult for you humans to attack. The reason why we want to fight for the human lands is because the foreign races' land is mostly barren. Moreover, the front line is filled with danger. What if I die? I don't want to waste the cultivation I worked hard for so many years. Do you think I'm stupid? The Iron Bone Bear King was rather straightforward, and Zhou Hao was certain that it did not seem to be lying. After all, this Bear King was not stupid. On the contrary, it was very smart. All right, with your words, I'm relieved. With that said, the two of them went deeper into the spatial rift. This time, there were 50 essence energy ancestral stones. After Zhou Hao obtained them, he immediately returned to the training camp. The days in the training camp were peaceful. Although the missions by Ling Long assigned were getting more and more serious, they were fortunate to have all grown stronger and could pass safely. Moreover, Zhou Hao was the #1 quasi-heaven realm expert. If an accident really happened, he could easily ensure the safety of the others. Such days lasted for a month. Zhou Hao was somewhat surprised that the foreign races did not attack. Zhou Hao was also a little depressed that they did not attack. After all, he was unable to accumulate luck points. On this day, Zhou Hao took advantage of the time to put on his armor and arrived at the front line of the 12th spatial rift. The 13th spatial rift had now become a training base. Zhu Zhao and the others also all went to the other spatial rifts. Zhu Zhao, who had taken over the 12th spatial rift, immediately smiled when he saw Zhou Hao. President Zhou, I haven't seen you in a long time. It's been relatively peaceful recently. I'm much more free now. Zhou Hao also smiled. Sigh. However, Zhu Zhao shook his head and sighed. Heavenly King Zhu, why are you sighing? What's the matter? Zhou Hao frowned and hurriedly asked. President Zhou, everything only appears to be calm at this moment. In fact, we have received news that a heaven realm expert of the machine race has developed a new weapon. Once this weapon enters the battlefield, it will be very destructive. I'm very worried. Zhou Hao's heart tightened when he saw the worry on Zhu Zhao's face. What weapon is it? Zhou Hao hurriedly asked. It's a supermolecular virus. This virus is useless to the foreign races, but it's very harmful to us humans. Once we get infected, it will destroy the vitality in our bodies. You know that the blood essence power of us human cultivators is no match for the foreign races. Once this weapon is thrown in, the combat strength of our human race will immediately decrease. After Zhu Zhao finished speaking, Zhou Hao was also shocked. What? There's such a weapon? This thing was simply a disaster for the human race. As long as it was ineffective against the foreign races, it would be very dangerous for the humans. That's right. The research of the machine race is not inferior to that of our human race. During the battle, they captured many of our human warriors. After researching day and night, they finally succeeded. Zhu Zhao took a deep breath and was very anxious. Heavenly King Zhu, is there any way? Zhou Hao immediately asked. The higher UPS are currently discussing it. Although they have developed that weapon, I heard that it's still very complicated and is a little difficult for it to be put into production. Moreover, the foreign races are lacking in resources to begin with, so it's very difficult for them to produce it. I heard that a radiation tower has been produced in the 7th spatial rift. When this tower is used, it will activate the supermolecular virus. The soldiers of the 7th spatial rift are thinking of ways to attack the 7th spatial rift. After Zhu Zhao finished speaking, Zhou Hao frowned. The 7th spatial rift was the stomach of the humans on planet Earth. If they lost that place, it would really be dangerous for the humans. At that time, the foreign races would occupy the 7th spatial rift and undoubtedly divide the humans into two. At that time, the human race would be divided and they would be finished. There's no time to lose. I'll go to the 7th spatial rift now. Zhou Hao did not say a word and was about to leave when Zhu Zhao hurriedly said. President Zhou, since you want to go, bring Bai Ling along with you. Her brother is a Heaven Realm expert and is in charge of the situation in the 7th spatial rift. If the two of you go together, you will definitely be able to help him. Heavenly King Zhu hurriedly said. Isn't Miss Bai training an elite team in the 13th spatial rift base? Zhou Hao asked after a pause. That's right. Therefore, this time, not only will Bai Ling Long go, but she will also bring the 7 teams with her. Although the 13th spatial rift is the best place to train them, Bai Ling Long still wants to bring them to the front line to train. After all, they're already masters. Some of them have already broken through to the Grandmaster level. It's time for them to train in the front lines. Zhou Hao did not expect Zhu Zhao to say this. Bai Ling Long will contact you after this. When the time comes, will you leave together? Zhu Zhao asked. I won't go with her. She must be very slow with those students. Zhou Hao also wanted to go with her, but she was leading 7 teams. After all, he was both Zhou Hao and President Zhou and he couldn't exactly appear as both of them simultaneously. That's fine too. I still have a meeting to attend, so I won't be accompanying you, President Zhou. Zhu Zhao nodded and left. Chapter 356, Towards the 7th Spatial Rift. When Zhou Hao left the 12th Spatial Rift, he received a message from Bai Ling Long. Her meaning was very simple, she wanted to know when he would leave. Zhou Hao replied briefly and returned to the training camp. Bai Ling Long looked at Zhou Hao's reply and frowned. She thought to herself that this guy was really avoiding her like she was the plague. She really did not know why this man was so timid. Back in the abyss of sin, he had acted quite boldly. He even cultivated the dual cultivation technique with her. Now, after returning, it was as if the other party had evaporated into thin air. If not for Zhu Zhao giving her Zhou Hao's contact information, she wouldn't have been able to contact him at all. Early the next morning, the news that they were going to the 7th Spatial Rift spread to the ears of the various teams. The war in the 7th Spatial Rift is critical. Since you are an elite team nurtured by the humans, you should be there in person and train in advance. The flowers raised in greenhouses have always been pleasing to the eye but useless and easily destroyed by real struggles. Therefore, I don't care if you're afraid or not. This time, I want all of you to go with me. Do you understand? Bai Ling Long looked at the 7 teams and directly ordered. This shocked the 7 teams. Of course, Zhou Hao did not know what the other teams were thinking. On the other hand, Team 7 was a little excited when they heard this news. Are we finally going to the real front line to kill the enemies? That's great. I have been looking forward to this for a long time. Zhang Yi was the first to speak. This guy had always been courageous and fearless. The seventh spatial rift must be very dangerous. On the other hand, Yuan Cheng was a little worried. Although he was a little timid, he was not the kind of person who would flee before the battle. I think we should prepare something to escape. Last time we went to the weapon shop, I saw a new thruster. Should we buy it? Yuan Cheng thought for a moment and said. Yuan Cheng, we haven't even started fighting yet and you're already thinking about escaping. You're really making me laugh. Yun Yan was the first to smile gorgeously. On the other hand, Fang Yu nodded. Not only do we have to prepare the items to escape, but we also have to prepare the items to kill the enemies. It's better to be safe than sorry. Zhou Hao nodded. That's right. This time, the seventh spatial rift is a real battlefield. It's not like our usual training. Therefore we really should make more preparations. After discussing, they immediately split up. Yuan Cheng and Zhang Yi went to buy the equipment for escaping, Yun Yan and Fang Yu went to buy the equipment for killing enemies. On the other hand, Zhou Hao and Su Ling were free. Zhou Hao was overjoyed that the two of them had the chance to spend time together. Su Ling, do you still remember when we were in school? You always yelled at me for being lazy. Now that I think about it, I really miss those days. After Zhou Hao finished speaking, Su Ling smiled. She directly lifted his ear and scolded jokingly, "Don't think that just because you're stronger than before, I won't scold you. Among the six of us, you're the one who slacked off the most. Don't think I don't know. Yes, yes, yes. Nothing can escape Hero Su's eyes. Let go of my ear quickly. I know I was wrong." Humph. Su Ling immediately smiled, but she quickly said worriedly. "Zhou Hao, do you think we'll be in danger this time?" Su Ling suddenly spoke, making Zhou Hao sigh. "Of course there's going to be danger. But I'll be by your side, so don't worry. Even if there's danger, I'll protect you." Zhou Hao held Su Ling's hand and said firmly. Su Ling smiled sweetly but still said, "Humph, I don't need you to protect me. I'm not weaker than you." As Su Ling spoke, she waved her fists. "The few of us went out to buy things, but the two of you are so intimate here." When Yun Yan and the others returned and saw Zhou Hao and Su Ling, they immediately rolled their eyes and said angrily. Hearing this, Su Ling's pretty face immediately turned red and she was somewhat embarrassed. "What did you buy?" Zhou Hao coughed dryly and hurriedly changed the topic. Seeing that Zhou Hao had changed the topic, Yun Yan did not say anything else. "Fang Yu and I bought some paralysis grenades, high-energy sonic guns, and some area bombs. Although we didn't get a lot of them, they're all good stuff." After Yun Yan finished speaking, Yuan Cheng hurriedly said, "Zhang Yi and I bought thrusters. In addition, we also bought concealment smoke grenades. These will come in handy when we need to escape." Seeing that they were sufficiently prepared, Zhou Hao nodded in satisfaction. Early the next morning, they began to travel. The 7 teams took 7 planes and headed for the 7th spatial rift. The journey was not very far, but it took them half a day to arrive. They were shocked as soon as they arrived at the 7th spatial rift. The 7th spatial rift was filled with desolation. Clearly, it had experienced many battles. It was even more serious than the 13th and 12th spatial rift. Zhou Hao took a deep breath. Seeing this, he knew that a huge battle had definitely happened here. Moreover, it was definitely a hard-fought battle. Not only that, but Zhou Hao also saw a tall tower in the depths of the 7th spatial rift. A defensive line was established around the tower. Looking from afar, it looked like a dense mass. Naturally, this had all been prepared by the mutated beasts. Looks like the crisis won't be resolved until this tower is destroyed. I wonder if the foreign races used the tower yet. Zhou Hao was very worried. After they arrived at the 7th spatial rift, Bai Linglong also made arrangements for them. Zhou Hao also took this opportunity to put on his armor and contacted Bai Linglong. Bai Linglong saw Zhou Hao's message and snorted and couldn't help but feel that he was really well informed. She had just arrived here when he contacted her. Bai Linglong did not care too much and found Zhou Hao. Humph, you've been quite mysterious recently. Why? Are you afraid that I'll kill you to make sure my secret is safe after we leave the abyss of sin? Bai Linglong could not help but complain when she saw Zhou Hao. After saying this, Zhou Hao was stunned. What was wrong with this woman? Why did she sound like a resentful woman? Could it be that she missed him after not appearing for so many days? No, there was something I needed to deal with. Let's go see your brother. I don't know much about the 7th spatial rift yet. Zhou Hao hurriedly changed the topic. Bai Linglong snorted and could not be bothered to talk nonsense. She directly brought him to the military camp of the 7th spatial rift. Bai Zhenhai was the overall commander of the 7th spatial rift. He had a heaven realm cultivation and was incomparably valiant. This person's appearance was not as good as Bai Linglong's, but he was still handsome and gave off a valiant and tall feeling. Bai Zhenhai laughed heartily when he saw Zhou Hao. President Zhou, I've heard a lot about you. Senior Zhu has mentioned you to me many times. After meeting you personally, I can tell that you are indeed extraordinary. Chapter 357, Shock. You're too kind, heaving King Bai. Zhou Hao smiled. President Zhou, you know that Heaven Realm experts can't attack without permission. Therefore, although I'm anxious about the crisis in the 7th spatial rift, I'm also helpless. There are a total of 20 quasi-Heaven Realm beasts guarding the tower. We can't attack at all. If not for the fact that this tower has not been completely built, our 7th spatial rift would very likely have failed. Heavenly King Zhu said that your combat strength is not inferior to a Heaven Realm expert, and that you are the strongest below the Heaven Realm. I wonder if you have a way. Bai Zhenhai did not hide anything and told them everything as soon as they met. Heavenly King Bai, will everything be fine once we destroy that tower? Zhou Hao hurriedly asked. That's indeed the case. However, with 20 quasi-Heaven Realm beast experts, the other battlefronts can't spare too many people at all. Even so, more than 10 people have been sent from the various army camps in the spatial rift. Even with the original 5 quasi-Heaven Realm experts stationed in the 7th spatial rift, there are still fewer people than the beasts. Our few attacks have all failed. Bai Zhenhai sighed helplessly. Heavenly King Bai, if it's only to deal with quasi-Heaven Realm experts, I still have a way. However, I don't know if that tower can be destroyed. I've checked before. The things built by the machine race have always been incomparably hard. I'm worried that even if we defeat their mutated beast army, we will still be helpless against this tower. This was what Zhou Hao was worried about. With his current combat strength, he was the number 1 person below the Heaven Realm and was not afraid of any quasi-Heaven Realm beast at all. Moreover, the ancestral stones he had exchanged with the Iron Bone Bear King last time had already been fully absorbed. This also meant that the god-slaying art had already reached a compatibility score of 30% and was even more powerful. I'm also very worried about this. However, we have prepared a plasma cannon. This is the strongest weapon we have against the foreign races. If it can't do anything, then... Bai Zhenhai sighed. In that case, let's give it a try. Zhou Hao did not waste his breath. If they did not give it a try, they would really be done for when the machine race finished their preparations and launched the supermolecular virus. Therefore, speed was important. They had to attack immediately. Bai Zhenhai did not expect Zhou Hao to be so anxious and was touched. President Zhou is indeed worthy of being a pillar of the country. All right, in that case, let's attack. Bai Zhenhai immediately gathered his men and began the battle. All along, the foreign races had always attacked first and the humans had been forced to defend. However, it was different this time. The foreign races wanted to stall for time. When the machine race finished their preparations, they would release the supermolecular virus and conquer the 7th spatial rift in one go. Therefore, these 20 quasi-heaven realm beasts were not here to kill the enemies at all. Instead, they were here to ensure that the machine race could successfully complete the mission. After all, it would not be too late for them to kill the enemies after they completed the missions. After the human army was gathered, Bai Zhenhai directly ordered and rushed up. As soon as the human warriors moved, the ground trembled and cracked. Countless mutated beasts crawled out from the cracks. Be careful! This is a bloodthirsty demon ant with extraordinary strength. Moreover, it has armor. Everyone, be careful! Seeing these bloodthirsty demon ants, Zhou Hao frowned. These things were all ferocious beasts of the foreign races. The bloodthirsty demon ants were violent by nature. Once they tasted human blood, they would become bloodthirsty and crazy. Moreover, they were extremely powerful and had firm bodies. It was very difficult for the human warriors to resist them. However, even though this was the case, the human warriors were not idiots. They had fought the foreign races for a long time and naturally knew how to deal with the bloodthirsty demon ants. Zhou Hao took a look and did not continue to care. His goal was those quasi-heaven realm beasts. If he killed them, not only would he increase his luck points, but he would also be able to destroy the tower. Zhou Hao took the lead and charged out. He took out the black dragon spear in his hand and thunder roared. The mutated beasts in the distance also roared incessantly. Zhou Hao directly charged in, followed by Bai Linglong and more than 10 quasi-heaven realm experts. Their momentum was vast and mighty. However, against the army of mutated beasts, they were still somewhat insignificant. A mere dozen quasi-heaven realm experts dare to attack the tower? They're really courting death. Storm Demon Ape, bring 10 brothers and tear them apart. Under the tall tower stood a huge alligator turtle with green fur all over its body. Its cultivation was powerful. At this moment, when it spoke, the more than 20 quasi-heaven realm beasts below did not dare to say anything. On its left stood a demon ape covered in black hair. When it heard the alligator turtle, it immediately roared and rushed over with the army of more than 10 mutated beasts. It's the storm demon ape. It's fast and agile and has the ability to resist the wind. It's incomparably powerful. The few quasi-heaven realm beasts behind it also can't be underestimated. When our army fought with it, we were almost killed by it every time. Fortunately, they just defend the tower and don't want to fight us to the death. Otherwise, to kill this storm demon ape, we would have to sacrifice at least 3 quasi-heaven realm experts. The person who spoke was a quasi-heaven realm expert from the 7th spatial rift called Wang Wei. Zhou Hao nodded and looked at them, but his gaze fell on the green-haired turtle on the high platform. Is that turtle their commander? Zhou Hao asked directly. That's right. That's the golden armor alligator turtle. It's the strongest among them. The turtle shell on its body can withstand a heaven realm expert's attack. Moreover, its combat strength is extraordinary and its bite strength is shocking. If you get bit, you're basically doomed. Wang Wei was very afraid of the golden armor alligator turtle. It was not because he was lacking in drive, but because it was the truth. Zhou Hao smiled. It's covered in green hair and yet it's called the golden armor alligator turtle. Interesting. When Wang Wei heard this, he was stunned for a moment and could not help but say, President Zhou, I think you shouldn't underestimate the golden armor alligator turtle. It's a powerful enemy of our human race's 7th spatial rift. Zhou Hao nodded. Don't worry, I won't underestimate it. However, if this golden armor alligator turtle attacked today, Zhou Hao would definitely kill it. With the black dragon spear in hand, Zhou Hao rushed over. He did not immediately use the god-slaying art. Instead, lightning exploded in the sky and swept up the 5 mutated beasts, including the storm demon ape. You guys take on the other mutated beasts. I'll help you after I kill them. After Zhou Hao finished speaking, he rushed out. However, Wang Wei and the others were shocked. A human quasi-heaven realm expert was originally inferior to the foreign races in a one-on-one battle, but President Zhou actually wanted to fight 5 of them alone. Wasn't he courting death? They were all anxious and thought to themselves that Zhou Hao was really inexperienced and did not fear death. Could it be that the person from the 12th spatial rift was so brave and stupid? However, in the next second, a huge head fell from the sky. It was the storm demon ape covered in black fur. At this moment, everyone was stunned. Their eyes widened as they saw Zhou Hao bathed in lightning. Everyone's expressions froze when they saw what had just happened. Chapter 358, Fight. This scene immediately stunned everyone. A second ago, they were still worried that Zhou Hao would not be able to defeat the storm demon ape, but in the next second, Zhou Hao had cut off its head. This made them turn pale with shock and disbelief. However, in the next second, they shouted excitedly. President Zhou is indeed invincible. President Zhou is too impressive. Let's kill our way over and create an opportunity for President Zhou to kill the mutated beast experts. They roared angrily. Originally, they did not have any confidence, but when they saw Zhou Hao's strength, confidence immediately surged. Zhou Hao held his spear and looked at the 4 mutated beasts opposite him. With an invincible and powerful cultivation, he shook the heavens. With a wave of his hand, he killed the storm demon ape. This also shocked the other quasi-heaven realm beasts. They did not expect this human cultivator in front of them to be so powerful. President Zhou, could he be the expert who killed the quasi-heaven realm beasts in front of the Dark Night King? It's actually this person not good, quickly send reinforcements. We can't resist at all. The 4 of them were not stupid. After all, the demon storm ape had been killed in a single exchange. In addition, Zhou Hao's reputation had already spread everywhere. After seeing this scene, they were immediately shocked. Unfortunately, Zhou Hao would not give them the chance. With the black dragon spear in hand, endless spear light streaked across. Similarly, the god-slaying art in his body erupted. In an instant, Zhou Hao's aura looked down on the world and suppressed this space. Heavens, his cultivation! Why has his cultivation suddenly soared? He clearly only has a quasi-heaven realm cultivation, but why do I feel that his combat strength has reached the heaven realm? How is this possible? The scalps of these beasts went numb. At this moment, they were completely dumbfounded. Zhou Hao sneered and used the golden crow escape technique to transform into a golden beam. After killing the storm demon ape, his luck points instantly increased by a few million. At this speed, he would probably be able to get more than 10 million after killing these few. If he killed all of them, it would directly exceed 100 million. Zhou Hao was excited. The luck points he obtained from killing this quasi-heaven realm expert was very high. It was comparable to killing an entire army. I can accumulate luck points again today. Zhou Hao was very happy and did not hold back at all. The black dragon spear emitted a terrifying light as it directly entered the flock of sheep. In the distance, the golden armor alligator turtle that had been paying attention to this scene was immediately stunned. He had killed the storm demon ape in a single move. This person's combat strength was really off the charts. We really encountered a tough nut to crack. No wonder the Dark Night King ordered so many of us to guard this place. It turns out that it was to guard against this person. However, is the machine race all right? If they don't get the preparations done soon, we won't be able to take it anymore. The golden armor alligator turtle had lived for many years and was naturally cautious. Although it had an indestructible tough armor, it still could not fight Zhou Hao unless it was a last resort. After all, this person had killed a quasi-heaven realm beast easily. This made his scalp tingle. He was really too worried. Although his golden armor was powerful, he did not dare to guarantee that it could resist him. Senior golden armor, the machine race beings are currently on their way. We probably have to wait a while longer. As long as we delay them, we will have a chance. A mutated beast beside him hurriedly spoke. This guy looked extremely like a catfish. His two huge whiskers were like electric poles, and they were shining with phosphorus light. It was very shocking. You're right. As long as we resist for a while, we'll have a chance when the machine race's virus arrives. Therefore, we just have to resist. All of you, go help. The other quasi-heaven realm experts are nothing to be afraid of. The main problem is President Joe. You guys just have to stall him. A cunning look flashed in the golden armor alligator turtle's eyes as it ordered. All right. The catfish immediately nodded. With a wave of his hand, he brought the other 7 to 8 quasi-heaven realm experts and directly killed his way out. This scene shocked the humans. They did not expect the golden armor alligator turtle to send out so many quasi-heaven realm warriors. It seemed that they were determined to protect the tower, and the humans also understood something. They had to do it in this tower. Otherwise, if the 7th spatial rift was lost, they would be finished. President Joe, be careful. They've sent so many quasi-heaven realm experts again. When they saw this, they immediately shouted in surprise. This was because these quasi-heaven realm experts were not rushing towards them, but flying towards Zhou Hao. 1, 2, 3, 11. You sure think highly of me. Zhou Hao's expression also darkened. Although he was very powerful, he was still somewhat unable to resist these 11 quasi-heaven realm beasts. Moreover, they did not want to fight him head-on at all. Instead, they seemed to be focused on delaying him. All of them were slippery and could not be caught at all. Zhou Hao was very anxious. If this continued, it would be over when the machine race's virus arrived. Thinking of this, Zhou Hao no longer stayed behind to guard. He fully activated the god-slaying art in his body. The blood essence in his entire body trembled, and he directly used all his cultivation. He also took out his saber. He held the saber in his left hand and the spear in his right. The saber beam in his left hand shone, and countless cold lights flashed. It was the Shadow 7 sabers. Zhou Hao's most suitable weapon now was the Shadow 7 sabers. He had already refined it to perfection. At the same time, he also used the wood spirit art. His surroundings instantly transformed into a forest sea, and these mutated beasts were directly dispersed. This was what Zhou Hao wanted to do. He couldn't let them gather together. Similarly, Zhou Hao did not want to be delayed any longer. He needed to take care of the tower for them to have a chance. After using his 2 killing moves, Zhou Hao took the opportunity while they were resisting his wood spirit art to directly flash towards the tower. Is President Zhou trying to directly destroy the tower? That's right. President Zhou is right. We don't have enough time to kill all the quasi-heaven realm beasts. Once the super-molecular virus appears, our 7th spatial rift will definitely fall. They all understood that they had to unleash their full combat strength. Everyone, do your best to create a chance for President Zhou. At this moment, he had seen how powerful Zhou Hao was and was extremely respectful towards him. They also knew that the key to victory today was President Zhou. If they failed, they would be finished. Therefore, they did not hold back either and erupted with unprecedented combat strength. Bai Linglong was also incomparably anxious. She was also holding a spear in her hand. Countless spear lights were slashed by her as she fought the 2 quasi-heaven realm beasts. It had to be said that Bai Linglong was still very strong. Among quasi-heaven realm experts, she was definitely ranked highly. This was not only because Bai Linglong's cultivation was powerful, but also because her spear techniques were superb. In fact, Zhou Hao was far from being her match in a competition of spear technique. Kill! Seeing Zhou Hao advance courageously, Bai Linglong shouted and her aura roared. Chapter 359, Kiss of Lady Luck. Countless soldiers saw Zhou Hao's heroic figure and were filled with admiration. Even Bai Zhenhai was the same. He clenched his fists tightly. If not for the fact that he could sense an extremely dark aura staring at him from the 7th spatial rift, he would have attacked long ago. However, he had no choice. Even if he attacked, he would still be unable to kill the other party's Heaven Realm expert. He could only watch helplessly, feeling extremely aggrieved. President Joe, the safety of the Earth's 7th spatial rift is probably in your hands. He could not help but whisper with an incomparably nervous expression. At this moment, Zhou Hao had already arrived near the tower. When the golden armor alligator turtle saw this, it was immediately shocked. The higher UPS had asked it to protect the tower. If it was lost during his command, it would be over for him. Therefore, even if it did not want to encounter Zhou Hao, it could only roar. Its body turned into a golden light and pounced forward with surging pressure. Zhou Hao's expression was extremely ugly. He snorted and directly used the Shadow 7 sabers. Endless saber beams immediately rained down. Ordinary quasi-heaven realm experts were unable to resist such an attack at all. However, the golden armor alligator turtle directly hid in its shell. The saber beam draped over her body, emitting the crisp sound of metal colliding. Other than cutting off a lot of its green long hair, the saber beam did not cause any damage to it. The golden armor alligator turtle was shocked. Although it was not injured, it was still shocked. Zhou Hao's strength was indeed powerful. This move had even caused its blood essence to surge. I never imagined that there would be someone so powerful in the human race. However, President Zhou, you can't kill me or stop us. After resisting the attack, the alligator turtle also became somewhat confident. Although it was a little difficult for it to kill President Zhou, it was also impossible for Zhou Hao to kill it. Not to mention a quasi-heaven realm expert, even a high third-grade heaven realm expert would find it difficult to kill it. Zhou Hao's expression immediately darkened, thinking to himself that this golden armor alligator turtle was really something. It could actually use its golden armor to resist his Shadow 7 sabers. He could not help but admit that this alligator turtle was indeed worthy of its reputation. Humph, you turtle, what shameless boasting! Zhou Hao snorted and directly drew his spear. At the same time, the mutated beasts behind him also struggled free from the wood spirit art and pounced towards Zhou Hao. Being sandwiched on both sides, the pressure on Zhou Hao immediately multiplied. However, he still could not give up. After all, he had to destroy this tower no matter what. As for these mutated beasts, he could only risk his life to deal with them. Zhou Hao knew that it was impossible for him to ambush the tower. Therefore, at this moment, he was prepared to fight a bloody battle. He roared angrily and the black dragon spear immediately exploded. He activated the golden crow escape technique, and the lightning on his body was generous, making him look like a killing god. There were a total of 13 quasi-heaven realm experts on the other side, but Zhou Hao was still not afraid. With thunder filling the sky, he held his spear as he faced them. Although Zhou Hao was small compared to them and was like a flea beside them, Zhou Hao's aura was enough to resist half the sky. President Zhou, what a powerful aura! This is what a human cultivator should be like. He's resisting an entire army alone with a single spear. Too powerful, too powerful. The human warriors were shocked when they saw this, but they also became worried. President Zhou was like a treasure to the humans. And now, he was fighting so many mutated beasts alone. What were they supposed to do if he ended up dying? It was not unreasonable for them to be worried. After all, how could a single person resist so many mutated beasts? However, Zhou Hao used his actions to show them that there was nothing to worry about. Although the other party was powerful, he was not to be trifled with. With a shout, Zhou Hao had already rushed forward. It was not only him. The human warriors' blood surged at this moment. They knew that once the machine race beings arrived with the virus, they would be finished. Therefore, in this battle, the humans unleashed endless combat strength. Those bloodthirsty demon ants were immediately eliminated. However, the foreign races were clearly prepared. When the bloodthirsty demon ants disappeared, another large pile of ice peaks surged out. It was also very troublesome. In fact, many supernatural beasts had even appeared. Although they were not at the 9th grade supernatural level, they still managed to pester the human experts. Not only that, but the mutated beasts of the masters and grandmasters also covered the sky and the earth. The humans understood that once the tower released the supermolecular virus, they would be finished. The foreign races also understood that as long as the tower released the virus, the humans would be able to resist. Therefore, both sides were fighting with their full strength. However, the humans were extremely anxious, and the mutated beasts were also cautious. The foreign races knew that as long as they could delay the humans, everything would be fine. Damn, everyone, kill them ruthlessly. Don't let them delay us. That's right. Even if the tower releases the virus, we still have to kill them all before that. Everyone's eyes were red from killing. They ignored everything and completely fought the foreign races. Blood covered the ground, and the 7th spatial rift instantly became an incomparably bloody battlefield. This battle will definitely be recorded in the history books. Bai Zhenhai was also incomparably excited when he saw this scene. Prepare the cannons, prepare the laser cannons, and prepare the laser cannons. Kill them ruthlessly. Bai Zhenhai commanded in front of the army. Not only did the humans have warriors, but they also had high-tech weapons. Compared to the machine race, it was possible that their high-end technology was inferior. However, the might of these cannons was still enough to threaten them. The situation ended in a stalemate. As for Zhou Hao, he became more and more courageous. The armor on his body was stained with blood. However, this blood was not his but the foreign beasts. In just a few exchanges, Zhou Hao had directly cut off some of their arms and shattered their weapons. There were even some who ended up with bloody holes on their bodies. In short, Zhou Hao's eyes were red from killing as he fought back. Not only that, but even the few quasi-heaven realm beasts were angered by Zhou Hao's attacks. Their mutated beasts were bloodthirsty to begin with. Not only were they triggered by their enemy's blood, but their own blood also made them bloodthirsty. Moreover, they were fighting with so many quasi-heaven realm beasts. If news of them being injured by a single person spread, wouldn't they lose face? Kill this despicable human! They roared angrily and became even crazier. Zhou Hao felt pressured. He used countless techniques, including the 5 elements Great Yan Record, the Greenwood Art, the Shadow 7 Sabers, and so on. In addition to his strongest trump card, the God-slaying art. At this moment, his combat strength was magnificent as he pressed forward. Die! Zhou Hao's voice was like thunder. At this moment, they were competing to see who was more unlucky. They wanted to see who was more ruthless. Zhou Hao's eyes were bloodshot as he attacked. This time, in a few exchanges, he immediately killed 2 quasi-heaven realm beasts. Including the storm demon ape, he had killed a total of 3. His luck points also instantly exceeded 100 million. The status had also been changed to Kiss of Lady Luck. Chapter 360, Arrival. Zhou Hao had been paying attention to the luck points on his Heaven Dao software. When he saw that his luck points had changed his status, he was immediately excited. He did not expect these quasi-heaven realm beasts to earn him so many luck points. If he could kill the golden armor alligator turtle, who knew how many luck points he would get? Zhou Hao was excited, but he also knew that it was a little difficult for him to kill this cowardly turtle. However, he had to get this turtle's head. Zhou Hao was happy and became braver the more he fought. The black dragon spear in his hand could be said to be like a divine weapon. These mutated beasts did not dare to resist at all. He also used his 5 elements Great Yan Record and the Greenwood Art together, making them flustered. The golden armor alligator turtle was incomparably shocked and did not dare to believe it. This person's essence energy is actually so abundant. How is this possible? After fighting for so long, I'm already tired, but he doesn't seem to be exhausted at all. The gold-priced alligator's eyes widened. They were not the only ones who thought this way. The human warriors were also stunned when they saw President Joe becoming more and more valiant. President Joe, so powerful, so powerful. It's not that he's powerful, but he's just too powerful, all right? He fought so many mutated beasts alone, and not only did he not lose, but he even killed 3 to 4 of them. In fact, President Joe's aura did not even weaken. President Joe, how impressive! President Joe is invincible. The human cultivators roared angrily, becoming even more valiant and fearless. On the other hand, the foreign races were forced to retreat step by step. It had to be known that the foreign race originally had 20 quasi-heaven realm beasts guarding against the humans. In the beginning, the humans did not dare to fight them and could only try to ambush the tower. However, after President Joe arrived, the situation was different. Not only could he suppress them, but President Joe was also powerful enough to kill multiple quasi-heaven realm beasts. Such combat strength was really the hope of their human race and the key to victory in the 7th spatial rift. Good job! Bai Zhenhai was extremely excited and did not dare to believe it. Zhu Zhao told me that President Joe is very powerful. I couldn't really believe him at the time, but now it looks like he was telling the truth. In fact, he's simply too powerful. He's only a peak-level supernatural expert and a quasi-heaven realm expert, but he's actually able to unleash a heaven realm combat strength. He's really too powerful. He's a quasi-heaven realm expert, but he can temper his essence energy. This matter is too shocking. I'm afraid this will end up attracting the attention of the higher UPS. It's possible for us to win this battle, but I wonder if the higher UPS will target him after that. Sword King Qing said that the human race seems to be united, but with a traitor like the Dark Gods lurking around, the human race has already been infiltrated. If they have any ill intentions towards President Joe, I'm afraid it won't end well for him. For so many years, our human race has been unable to destroy the foreign races. It's not only because the foreign races are powerful, but also because the traitors of our human race have always been secretly working with the foreign races. Bai Zhenhai looked like a rough man, but he knew very well that there were traitors among the higher UPS. In fact, the situation was much worse with the higher UPS. At this moment, the battlefield was already making everyone anxious. Zhou Hao was alone and invincible. The golden armor alligator turtle was also beaten until it covered its head and ran like a rat. It had already thought of retiring. If this continues, even if I don't die from his attacks, I'll still be tortured to death. The golden armor alligator turtle's intelligence was very high. He had lived for a long time and had seen too many things. His intelligence was not inferior to these humans. He had already discovered that there was something wrong with this human brat in front of him. Ordinary quasi-heaven realm experts would have long been exhausted. On the other hand, Zhou Hao only became lively the more he fought for some reason. Are the machine race beings not here yet? If they still don't come, I won't be able to endure it anymore. The golden armor alligator turtle became anxious. However, at this moment, he suddenly felt a sense of danger. He suddenly looked up and saw that Zhou Hao's spear was already heading straight for his head. Big bastard, you're actually distracted while fighting me. Are you really not afraid of death? Zhou Hao roared as the black dragon spear emitted endless lightning power. It descended with a bang and directly covered the golden armor alligator turtle. It reacted quickly and hid in the turtle shell before being blasted into the ground by Zhou Hao. The other beasts were shocked when they saw this. The golden armor alligator turtle had the strongest combat strength here. If even he was killed, they would definitely be slaughtered. However, they were not as scheming as the turtle. They were not thinking of escaping at all. Instead, they were waiting for the machine race's reinforcements to arrive. The big catfish swung its huge beard, and the sound of thunder shook the void as it waved fiercely at Zhou Hao. Its strength was great and its speed was as fast as lightning. Good timing! Zhou Hao shouted and the power of the god-slaying art erupted. His spear pierced fiercely, directly cutting off one of his whiskers. With his other hand, he waved his saber, drawing countless saber lights that slashed directly onto the catfish's huge body. Immediately, countless wounds appeared and blood flowed out. The catfish cried out in grief as his body suddenly fell to the ground, creating a huge pit. Zhou Hao snorted. "I'll take your life while you're ill." Without any mercy, he exploded with all his strength. This spear strike carried endless lightning. Even the sky was dyed by this green light. The big catfish's hair immediately stood on end, and a sense of danger of death exploded in his heart. However, at this moment, the golden armor alligator turtle suddenly spat out a mouthful of air that turned into a long stream of water. In an instant, it also turned into ice that bombarded Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao's expression changed. He waved his saber, and the ice immediately turned to dust. The gold alligator also escaped from Zhou Hao's fatal shot as it carried the big catfish away in its mouth. This old bastard is really good at resisting attacks. He actually survived after being hit by me. Zhou Hao took a deep breath and became a little anxious. Although he was killing happily, he was worried about everyone. He did not know if the machine race beings would arrive in the next second. Would it bring the super-molecular virus with them? If this virus erupted, would the humans be completely helpless? Therefore, he still wanted to resolve the battle as soon as possible. Amidst his furious roar, Zhou Hao erupted with endless combat strength. Spear light surged and countless saber lights flashed. After directly killing a quasi-heaven realm beast, his body descended like a god and attacked. However, at this moment, a strange spatial power directly descended on the tower. A quasi-heaven realm aura exploded. Zhou Hao's expression changed drastically, but the mutated beast's expressions were filled with excitement. "They're here, the machine race beings are here. They're here with the virus." The golden armor alligator turtle was the first to react and laughed out loud. Its voice shook the forest and spread in all directions. At this moment, all the humans were dumbfounded. They had never expected the machine race to arrive. The spatial fluctuation became more and more condensed. Finally, under the light, Zhou Hao saw a machine race warrior appear. Dressed in solid armor, he looked like a robot. However, he had 4 limbs. At this moment, his 4 hands were holding a huge metal ball that emitted a disgusting aura. Zhou Hao's pupils constricted when he saw this. He knew that the other party had brought the supermolecular virus.